Well, welcome to Wrangle the Chute at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, the 4-star FWQ event for the IFSA. A lot of excitement coming at you today from the heart of Golden, British Columbia. We got Helly Hansen bringing you this event along with the IFSA, International Free Skiers and Snowboarders Association. Freeride World Tour Qualifier. These athletes are looking for their spot on the FWT, the Freeride World Tour, which also had a very exciting stop here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, their only North American stop. Smith, Optics, and of course Purcell, Heli Skiing. Rosignol, Pure Mountain Company. This is Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, and this is the Freeride World Tour Qualifier. 4-star Wrangle the Chute at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Coming in off the top section and choosing the main line off Ozone. You can see it right here. Beautiful run, new terrain for Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. She's taking the entrance off of the cornice, arcing some smooth turns down through a little skiff of fresh snow. It's been a little dry here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, but the snow's still riding excellently. And we're gonna see what Ioma has to do. Working our way through the top section and into the middle guts. She's putting together a smooth run so far as she works her way down to the lower third of the steeper section here on Ozone. Working her way across Looker's right and into a tight chute. Holding it all together, making it look easy as she works her way down onto the fan and out of the kind of the point section of this venue and towards the finish corral. You can see there it's a steeper lower section with a nice flat area for the riders to just kind of wind themselves down and make their way to the finish corral. Nice little hop there. As she comes into the finish corral. Not a huge crowd at this moment, but she's our first rider of the day, so kicking things off and making it look exceptionally easy, really, as she comes into the finish corral. There it is. You can see the dog teeth in the background and several ridges of Kicking Horse Mountain Resort's backcountry. This is, of course, Helly Hansen presenting Wrangle the Chute 2019. It's the 4-star event. We had an exciting time at the 2-star event back on Thursday, and we saw some riders throw down. But, of course, this is the big show. Lots of riders coming from all over the world to show us what they have and gain those points and hopefully a spot on the Freeride World Tour. Katie's kicking things off with a little 180 into her line, and yeah, just finding some flowy, fast turns down the guts here on Looker's left of Ozone. Miss Anderson currently first place on the qualifier so far in North America. And getting herself into a very technical section. cliffs, rocks, all of these kind of visual indicators of what makes for a more difficult way down the mountain opposed to a wide open face. Katie finding a technical side straight line-ish through that middle section and building her line score, the most important score that these riders are looking for in kind of their overall. It's 5 categories: line score, control, fluidity, technique, and air and style. All 10 categories, but you can only get 3 points higher than your line score. So that line score, the difficulty, the line choice, the way you chose to go down the mountain and just how impressive that is, really the baseline for your overall score. But here, Katie working her way towards the finish corral, fine line, unique choice as she works her way down that south-facing Ozone chute. The newest terrain here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, opened just this year after the Freeride World Tour was here on the first weekend of February. And we have Katie just rolling her way in. No poles, obviously, for these snowboarders to push their way into the finish corral, so those flats, not that friendly for them. But, you know, they make it look casual. She's switching around, adding a little style here. She comes into the finish corral. Helly Hansen bringing you this event, Wrangle the Chute 4-star 2019. Purveyors of quality goods since who knows when. Well before the technology they have in those fine garments was available. Back up at the start gate now. Dropping in. She's from the US of A, our fine neighbors to the south, up here in Canada. And she's picking the main line into Ozone as she works her way down that top ridge and into some fresh snow. Erin finding a little soft landing. Back out into the main chute of Ozone as she works her way across. Lookers right. It's important to note that these riders are riding on a venue that has been open to the public since the Freeride World Tour was here at the beginning of the month. And unfortunately, there hasn't been a ton of weather that has added to our snowpack here in Golden, British Columbia. But Marissa here is definitely finding the skiff of new snow and avoiding the public's tracks, traverse lines, moguls, etc. as she works her way down. Far lookers right of this Ozone face. South-facing ridge, you can see it kind of as you're going up the gondola, as you're going up from the chair here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. And, ooh, putting it down. Unfortunately having a control issue. At least she's got that pillow of fresh snow to cushion her landing and slow her roll as she works her way down towards the bottom here. Taking a similar line up top to Marissa, but airing into the main guts of Ozone. Keeping it lookers left, though, that main chute. Popping some turns, showing off that control, the fluidity. Fluidity is important basically because it's how well you flow down the mountain. If you were a snowball, how would you roll down the mountain? How fast, how fluid you are. If you're a liquid, how would you flow down this run? Definitely important. And just keeping it smooth in the overall presentation of these runs. If you're going left and right, back and forth, obviously it takes away from kind of the features you're hitting into distraction if you're kind of bing-bonging, ping-ponging all over the place. We've got Claudia here, though, working her way into a bit of a technical section. Generally, on a powder day, this area wouldn't be so gnarly. But since the public's been there, it's really stepped out, and she finds a nice straight line out onto the fan, working her way towards the finish corral. Pretty smooth run from Claudia as she comes in over this flat section. This is about the stopping point for the judges here. They're kind of more judging what you did to the fan and how controlled you were out of the fan. This little bit is past the judging point, and on towards the finish corral here is just kind of one last shot off these little bumps or not to show off what they got. But Claudia getting some cheers from the crowd there as she comes into the finish corral. International Free Skiers and Snowboarders Association, the IFSA, making all these contests and 2-star, 4-star, whatever star qualifiers available for the Freeride World Tour, which is, I assume, the goal for all these athletes to join the likes of Tanner Hall, Marcus Eder, Ari Tricomi, all those people on the Freeride World Tour, Smith Optics, fine goggles, sunglasses, helmets, you name it. Purcell heli skiing, the only option for heli skiing out of Golden, BC. Rosignol Pure Mountain Company, skis, snowboards, purveyors of quality goods. And here we've got our next rider on course. Working away far, Looker's right. Find a little mogul to jump off there. I mean, it's one thing if this run, pardon me, is all powder. It's another thing if it's hard and there's a ton of other bumps, but it also gives these athletes a ton more air options as she airs off something into the guts of the main line on Ozone here. Battling some smooth, polished snow. In this part of the world, we call it chalky snow. Not sure what you call it at home, but she's working her way down towards the guts, holding it all together. Strong riding from Mutsumi Ito as she works her way down. Looker's right into this technical choke that we saw Yoma from France do earlier. And just like that, her judge run is over. She's out onto the flats. Judge is kind of calling it there at the angle change. This just, is the glory time for them to get some cheers from the crowd and make it look like they're stoked on their run or they're heartbroken. Nothing wrong with Mutsumi Ito's run, though, as she makes her way into the finish corral. Kept it on her feet, no major control issues. Of course, Wrangle the Chute, been around for several years at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. This is the 2019 iteration. It's an FWQ 4-star FWQ qualifier. Exciting things, exciting times at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort with the FWT stop in early February and the Wrangle the Chute in early March. Just opening up some new terrain this year to the qualifying event here on the World Tour. She's your 6th female snowboarder of the day. Airing in under the cloud off that top cornice. Staying high on that ridge. Blowing up some snow and keeping it moving as she works her way down through the top third of this line. Finding a nice little air, holding it all together through the chunky snow. Rhonda bouncing off of a lot of littler features, trying to build that line score. Every time your feet leave the ground, every time you find a technical line to ski or ride, your line score goes up. The bigger the feature, the more the points. Obviously, you have to be able to stick that feature. Coming through this chunky, choppy, whatever you want to describe it as, technical lower section. She's battling what you can see are steps there from the public, traversing, panicking over the terrain that these riders look so comfortable in. And just like that, Rhonda is out onto the finish corral, nice speed onto the flats, working her way towards the finish gate and all the other competitors that are here cheering her on. As you can see there at the top of White Wall, it's a beautiful day here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Freeride World Qualifier, FWQ. In short, just a beautiful day here. Crisp blue skies, lots of sun, and people are trickling in here watching these lady snowboarders put on a show. Your 7th female snowboarder of the day. Airing out off that cornice. And you know, people don't talk about what these riders are wearing enough. Bright yellow pants, bright colors in general definitely make it easier not only for the judges to see what's going on up on the hill, differentiate the athlete from the snow, but also for the crowd, which we all know is the most important thing. You at home watching, can you see them? Can you see the spectacular snowboarding that is going on here at the FWQ 4-star event at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort? Michaela, though, banana yellow pants as she works her way down into a technical section here. Kind of the last third of this Ozone head wall. To her left, the cheese grater. Below her, some straight lines and chewed out treed section. Looks like she's opting here for a straight line. Coming out onto the fan, unfortunately finding a bit of a bump, putting her tush down as she tries to hold on to that straight line. Out onto the exit, Michaela Holston with a fine line, smooth, fairly quick riding down that face. Unfortunately, just that control issue going to hurt her in the score category. This is Wrangle the Chute 2019 Kicking Horse Mountain Resort 4-star FWQ. All these athletes looking for their points so they can qualify for North America's spot for the Freeride World Tour. Every point helps, every point counts. These athletes trying to put it all on the line as they show their stuff to the crowd and you at home. Let's see what she has. Airing off that top cornice, opting for the looker's left-hand line instead of what we've seen most of the athletes do over on looker's right. She's got that first feature off the cornice and some wide open, I wouldn't call it pow, but let's call it a skiff. Nice smooth turns. I mean, you can't ask for much better when you haven't had the snow in a month. But Nicole Kelly working her way in through some shrubbery. Off a nice little air there. Showing off that control and technique that got her onto the FWT. Working her way, getting caught up a little bit on these traverse lines. I mean, I don't know about you guys at home, but for someone who's watching this and skis the hill every day, those traverse lines sure are a pain in the neck. You just wish someone would cross their heart and look up in the sky and say, I'm just going to ski fall line. I'm just going to ride down the hill instead of across it. But you can't always get what you want. And unfortunately, Nicole Kelly having a couple of control issues as she works her way down here. Not putting down the exact line that she wanted up through that top section. Finding a nice cool zone here at the bottom, but battling what sounds like some crusty snow, a little bit of sun effect. And just that general lack of snow that we've had here in the last little bit. Hopefully there's some more snow in the forecast. We can all enjoy this face with a little bit of pow on it. And I'm sure then Kicking Horse Mountain Resort and their patrol staff will get it open to the public and make it just as groovy as it was when they first opened it after that FWT. There it is. That's the ridge. That Helly Hansen tent. That's where the judges are sitting, all wrapped up and cozy. You know, just making everything run smooth here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Huddled up in there, conversing and deciding how it all shakes out. And of course, this amazing terrain is Kicking Horse Mountain Resort out of Golden, British Columbia, part of the resorts of the Canadian Rockies. And they've been putting on great contests for just so long. Working her way down that top rib into Ozone proper. Get this wide angle here as she picks her entrance and works her way down. Seen a tentative line choice here from Dana as she works her way through the main guts, the proper there of Ozone. Definitely an attractive face as she works her way towards that cloud that's moving up into the shade. Unfortunately, without airs, drops, anything that kind of shows the judges that they are, in fact, putting themselves in a more difficult position, that line score won't go up too much. Dana, though, coming into kind of the second half of this run, getting a little bit of shade on her line as she works her way down. Doing some heels and toes through the middle section down onto this final third. Finding, as you can see, where the public has really put in that traverse line, dodging those technical rocky cliff bands below them. As you can hear there, definitely not the most forgiving circumstances in the snow department as Dana works her way down onto the fan. Nonetheless, riding a conservative line. She stuck to her feet. It was controlled. The technique was fine, and unfortunately the line score just won't be as high, but she shouldn't be penalized in the other categories too much. coming down off that face and into a bit of a shadowed valley. There you have it, a little bit of a convoluted terrain trap down there. That's why for so long Ozone South was a permanent closure until this season Kicking Horse Mountain Resort decided to open it up and share it with the world. The patrol, big thanks to them for you know, getting out there and making it safe for all us goons in the public. Number 10 of the day, working her way in off that cornice and holding nothing back through this top section. Fast and fluid down that top section. Coming into her next feature here. Just a clump of shrubs. Opting to go between them, a little choke. Forces the rider to go straight, straighten out that board, pick up a little speed. A little more technical than just doing turns kind of wherever the suits their fancy with no obstacles. Sierra making quick work of that top section as she comes into this lower section. A little bit more technical. As you can see, the snow a little bit more broken up. Not quite as smooth to ride through. We've got a lot of shrubs and trees, pungees sticking out all over the place. And she's navigating her way through those. Staying upright, not putting a butt down or any hands, showing that she's in control, airing out onto the fan. And putting together her last little feature as she's out and down out of Ozone proper and out onto the exit here. It's sweet to see the progression of this board. We're on a bigger face here, the Ozone face, all made possible, of course, by Smith Optics. Our next rider dropping in. Looks like she's going lookers left. Taking some air off that top cornice and just opting for some soul turns out on the fresh snow. Steering clear of where everyone else is ridden. This speaks to me. Just finding that soft snow and doing whatever your heart wants out there. It is Freeride after all. But unfortunately, this area, compared to the Looker's Right area, just doesn't have quite the same features. So you need to pack the same line score into a shorter amount of features. So bigger features can help. Lots of little features or one big feature can often amount to the same score. Here she's found herself in a very steep technical straight line. She's rocking down on her toe edge, sending that slough, the loose snow flowing over some cliffs, and airing out onto the fan, holding together, blowing up a lot of snow, but showing a nice technique as she works her way down towards the bottom. It's a gamble sometimes, not playing the game and what the judges refer to as Pac-Manning the features, which is eating up every feature that kind of appears in your path, taking a lot of small hits to build that line score. Sometimes it's a bit of a gamble not to do that and to ski somewhere unique, do something different, and build a line score through a more impressive overall run with some drops and some straight lines, some technical riding, that control, the fluidity. She's coming in here on their last little bit. Just nice and controlled into the finish corral. Ooh, little clouds in the valley there here at over top of Golden from Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. This is the 2019 Wrangle the Chute FWQ 4-star event brought to you by Helly Hansen here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort in the beautiful heart of the Purcells, Golden, British Columbia. She's your 12th snowboarder of the day. She's working her way over well looker's right under that beautiful Purcell rock. Finding her way across these established traverse lines. Again, pretty solid top section. Not hitting an abundance of features, but showing off that control and the technique as she works her way down and towards potentially her next hit. Getting hung up a little bit there, but finding a nice straight line through it. Ooh, maybe another little control issue as she works her way to that fresh snow. On top of her next little feature here. Again, with the technical steep section, riding a steep base, really just showing off that you have to turn here, you have to turn there. You're holding that heel edge, your toe edge, and you're putting yourself in a riskier situation with more potential for hazard. Anna Fred stomping a nice little air out into the main guts of Ozone as she works her way down onto the fan. Nice turns and a solid straight line onto the fan. Nice little tail press as she comes out of the judged area. These girls and gentlemen, I'm sure we'll see later, are all very supportive of each other. Everyone's not just in it to win it, but to grow the sport and keep everyone excited and on their board or skis. Yeah, just keep them excited, and that's what this organization, the IFSA, International Free Skiers and Snowboarders Association, is all about. Through competition, the free ride competitions, they're all about just fostering that love for freeride, big mountain skiing. Freeride World Qualifier, that's what this event is. Everyone wants to be on that Freeride World Tour, but there's only enough room for a few. What you're seeing the top of right now as our next female snowboarder drops in that main line. She is your 13th female snowboarder of the day. Coming in off that top cornice and powering some turns through this open top section on the Ozone main line. You can hear them trying to find that purchase from their heel and toe side edges as they work their way through some harder snow. Holly finding some air there, though. Working her way down into the last third of this face on Ozone before the fan. Last couple points in the line score. Looking to build up that score. She can max out her other categories. Ooh, and a powerful straight line. Ooh, unfortunately putting a tush down there, losing her speed. Bit of a control issue as she works her way onto the fan. But she's up. She's all right. And she's here to ride again after today. This is Holly Zeller from the US of A as she works her way down onto the flats, losing a bit of speed. Fortunately, that control issue costing her. She's going to have to hoof it to the finish corral. There she is, just a couple pushes. She's got her speed. Doing the old balance dance. Pushing a couple more times onto that last little roll. That right there is lower down the cornice, Licker's left. It's an area, kicking horse known as Bollywood. A little bit more technical section. Unfortunately not open today for the competitors. Just a little variable in there under that cornice. The decisions made today and the venue chosen all for the competitors' safety and for the show that they are putting on for you at home. Rocking off that top cornice. A little beat down by all the public that's gotten through here. Rounded by the edges of 1,000 skis. Kiana working her way through the top section here of Ozone. Cloud rolling by, putting a little shade on her run. Kiana popping a little bit above that little donger and into the main guts of this top section of Ozone. Find a nice little other air as she works her way back. Licker's left. Looking to build that line score with a couple more features or technical areas of this venue as she works her way top to bottom. Opting for this chewed up treed section. Lots of pungees, lots of traverse lines. Looks like the public that's been in there has had some challenging choices to make as they navigate their way down Ozone. These riders, of course, one inspection run. They got to look at it the day before the contest. But other than that, this is probably the first time they're riding it. So it's like, check it out, kind of see where the line is, and then just go and do it. You're thrown to the wind. And that's the top Ozone. We're back up there. Just had Kiana go, and now we are on to our next athlete, a Chilean. Taking the traverse lines. Riders left, lookers right. Across that top gnarly section, it's an impressive face. And it definitely is one that makes you feel small when you're standing on it. These athletes looking to loom large off the top of the podium tonight. But who will have the score to do it? Will it be Macarena Bravo? Time will tell as she works her way down the looker's right-hand side of Ozone. Getting her way through some challenging snow. Still without a sizable feature in her line. But coming in on top of this air, what will she do? Airing off the side, stomping the landing. Keeping it smooth, staying upright, and really building that line score whilst showing off the control and technique. Keeping her flowing down the mountain, not coming any stops. And trying to find that style and energy category. Really the bonus category. Won the awards, styly air, some grabs, tricks. Ooh, getting hung up a bit, putting the butt down. Just getting hung up on top of that feature, trying to eke her way into the straight line. She power slides her way through onto that basketball court of a traverse line. Dealing with some cloud cover, blotting out the sun as she works her way back lookers left on top of her next feature. Airing back into the guts. And making her way out, down towards the flats and the finish corral. Oh, finding a little bit of soft snow as she takes a line down through there. You can see there's definitely a couple of fresh centimeters in this venue. Maybe it's a little cold this morning as Macarena gets held up on the flats there. Purcell Heli Skiing, Smith Optics, helping you bring this event to life. Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, of course. Pardon me. Rosignol Pure Mountain Company, Wrangle the Chute, 2019 at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Off that cornice and stomping the landing. A fast and fluid top section for Michelle, just with the one hit off the cornice. She has the rest of the run to boost her line score, but as I said before, it's a little bit of a risk taking that wide open featureless section at the top when others are bouncing off of everything in their sight. Michelle working her way lookers right after that lookers left top section. Again, in the fluidity category, there's got to be a point to getting from lookers left to lookers right. Michelle's got to find a reason to be over here as she works her way down through these traverse lines and on top of a straight line. Ooh, finding some facets, getting the snow moving and straight lining out onto the fan. Holding on to it and out onto the fan. Michelle Locke, looks like she did have a reason to go over there. But will it be enough for the judges to reward with a higher score? Airing her way, lookers right off that top cornice through the main line, and looks like she's got quite a bit of energy as she comes out of the gate and works her way over to that looker's right-hand side. Coming in this top feature. Hopped in for a little air as she continues her way lookers right. Back into the main guts here on Ozone. Hesitating a bit, but airing that middle air. Working her way through these traverse lines. Back lickers left under this rocky face. You got a nice close-up there. You can see just how jagged those rocks are. As Audrey airs out onto the fan, unfortunately putting her hand down and her butt. Still not done with the features though. Building that line score right until the bitter end, out onto the fan and into some softer snow. Ooh, styling out a little method there.
Couple more people join us here. We're almost through the female snowboard category. We've got 4 more.
2 more lady snowboarders to come in our first category of the day. We still have male snowboarding to come, along with female ski and men's ski. But dropping in, lookers left. Jen riding fall line down that looker's left-hand side. Again, the problem with that looker's left-hand side is there enough? Is there enough features? Is there enough technical difficulty to boost that line score? But Jen coming through the guts, though skied and awkwardly tracked, will it be enough for her as she gets down towards the fan to have a score here that she's going to be happy with? She gets through that top section, working her way, lookers right. Making a few more turns. Does she have a feature for us? Snowboarding around that last cliff and out onto the fan, holding it all together. A fairly controlled run, good technique, decent energy. Let's see how the judges feel about it as she works her way down towards the finish corral.
We've got 3 more lady snowboarders to go.
Nice little nose butter. Just styling out, having fun with it. She works her way down. You can see her there on the left-hand side of your screen, working her way down towards the finish corral. Couple folks hanging out, watching the show. This is the bottom of Ozone. Let's see how she does. Capping things off for this female snowboard category. Getting blessed with a little bit of sunlight on her run. Clouds have parted. Full sun on that south-facing Ozone face. Luckily, or I mean for the athletes, not if you're a local. It's been quite chilly here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort the last little while, preserving the snow, making sure it's not sun effect that you're hearing as these riders are ripping down these faces, but just cold, chalky snow. There was a couple centimeters that fell a couple nights ago, just a little bit of refresh, a little bit of soft snow on this venue. Otherwise, quite firm, edgeable, but fast. So not your ideal comp conditions, but pretty consistent conditions top to bottom on this venue. Easily inspected in these athletes' inspection run. And Amy making pretty quick work of this run as she works her way through that technical lower choke and out onto the fan. Unfortunately, slowing down a little bit, not holding her speed as she crosses way back Licker's left and out onto the rolls. Let's see what the judges think as she works her way down towards the finish corral. Either way, it's not easy going first, and it sure isn't easy standing up there and going last in your category. So kudos to Amy Denigelis as she makes her way towards the finish corral. Of course, just because that's the end of the female snowboard category doesn't mean it's the end of the comp. We still have a ton of athletes to go in male snowboard, female ski, and men's ski. We've got 23 male snowboarders next on the line. Wrangle the Chute 2019 FWQ 4-star. Men's snowboarding up next. Powerhouse category. These guys looking for their points. Qualify for the North American spot on the Freeride World Tour. This is the Wrangle the Chute presented by Helly Hansen here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. The best in the West. Champagne powder capital of at least Canada, if not the world. Of course, been a little bit of a drought here, so a little bit more challenging conditions for these athletes as they drop in on this Ozone face. New terrain here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Bit of a cloud rolling in here for Alex as he works his way down the line. Choosing that main line on Ozone. Center mast off the peak down into this middle section. Stopping briefly there. Again, the judges are looking for scores in 5 categories. You got your most important line score. That's how you choose to come down the mountain. That's the features you hit, how technical it is, how much difficulty you give yourself. Alex picking his way through a nice technical straight line out onto the fan and towards the finish corral. The other 4 categories: control, technique, fluidity, and air and style. Airing off that top cornice through a little haze. Having some weather blowing in. But either way, rocking and rolling through this top section of Ozone. Working his way down this spine. Teeing up another feature. Nice little air to straight line. Pulling it together out of the bottom and into the midsection. Over the bottom technical area.
There's a bunch of guys on the track today, so I'm gonna, because Carmen's dropping in first woman, so I'm going to watch her. So there's only a couple more smugglers yet.
Finding his way on top of that cheese grater and opting for the straight line out onto the fan. Nice power turn as he sets up his turns through this bottom section. Coming in off one more air, stomping the landing clean, finding a little transition there. And down, out onto the flats, a little tail press, and towards the finish corral.
There's 23 of them. So they're the same size as this one. Can you just like rearrange the order? Tough time of year, tough sell, yeah.
Coming in down towards the main line on Ozone. Coming in off the corners with a solid little 360. Landing on his toe edge, riding it out. Off that next feature, find a soft-ish landing as he gets on top of some exposure. Aaron out onto the fan, solid air, solid line choice. Out off the fan, all in control. And down onto the flats. Seeing some of the skier athletes hike their line, getting in position up over Bollywood, just liquors left of the Ozone venue these athletes are riding. Blue sky in the background there, sunshine on the slope. It's a beautiful day for this contest. The 2019 Kicking Horse Mountain Resort FWQ, also known as Wrangle the Chute, or Chutes, as the case may be today. This Ozone venue is a big one. Lots of chutes, lots of variations, lots to choose from.
No, but I'll, like, if I'm in a lap, I'm gonna jump on stairway again.
Working his way down under this cornice. Doing some lefts, doing some rights, and working his way out Looker's right. Across this top traverse line. Going back Looker's left, through the main choke of Ozone.
There's cinnamon buns over there. Can you run some up? And it's like a mound of fucking cinnamon buns. And I was like, I'm gonna just take these and go home.
Kind of going back and forth on this line as he tees up this little shrub donger.
Yeah, I can sell them to everybody.
Riding out of the landing there. And back out Looker's right, crossing that center chute. Those guts. Off another little air. Ooh, and going down, unfortunately, having a control issue. Definitely something the judges are watching for when you have that loss of control, loss of technique. It's something that they're watching for. It's a definite penalized moment, losing those edges. Coming into this bottom section, last hit here, out into the guts. Down on the fan. And out onto the flats, coming in towards the finish corral. Staying warm, hanging out in the sunshine. It's a beautiful day here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, and we have our next male snowboarder dropping in. The man in the banana suit working his way Lookers right across this Ozone venue. Coming in through a technical rocky section. Getting hung up a bit there. Losing some of the fluidity. On top of a cliff though, and airing out past a tree. Finding a little bit of a punchy landing. Something in there in that snow. But he's out back left across the venue towards this midsection. Trying to get into another technical little air off the rock, holding it together through some traverse lines. Coming into this lower section, into this chunky kind of skied area above some exposure. Heel and toe edges as he works his way through these trees. On top of his next feature. Ooh, butt checking the landing. Solid line choice. Definitely difficult to get into. Nice air, but putting down more than just the landing gear. Still though, through that venue, it's a big long face. With so many turns, it has to be tiring for these athletes. 2019 Wrangle the Chute FWQ 4-star presented by Helly Hansen. You're watching it from Kicking Horse Mountain Resort in a Golden, British Columbia. It's a beautiful spot, beautiful day, and we're seeing some great riding from these athletes. So far, the female snowboard event has happened, and it was spectacular. And now we are well into the male snowboard category. And we still have ski women's and male skiing to go. Lots of action, so stay tuned for everything coming up. Opting for that looker's right-hand line. Down fall line off this cornice. Nice wide shot there. It just shows you how big this terrain is compared to the men and women that are riding it. Still off looker's right. Working his way well over. Finding a sneaky little entrance to where he wants to go. Battling some rocks. Finding some softer snow. On top of this next feature, teeing it up. Airing out fall line, but hitting the landing pretty hard. And working his way well, looker's right. Probably the last real chute in this venue. It's smooth over there, but it's getting a little clouded out. Coming in hot on some smooth terrain, and ooh, putting the butt down. Losing that hillside edge on the hard snow underneath that top fluffy bit. Either way, he's out with too much of an issue. Airing off that bottom little bump and towards the finish corral. Taking off that snowboard just to get over that last little hump. Back up to the top as our next rider drops in. Picking the main line on Ozone off the cornice and into that wide open top section. Off the little donger, taking a nice air, out with some speed and going down, unfortunately. Putting his butt down. Getting into that technical treed section. Knocking around that shrubbery, abusing the plants, but navigating this weird pungy area. Little air out onto the fan, holding it together across the chatter and the moguls and out onto the fan. Down onto the flats, out safe and sound. As the crowd watching these athletes grows, he's coming into the finish corral. You can see there we're having some clouds move in. Not quite that crisp blue virgin sky that we saw before. A couple of clouds rolling across the venue, shading us. as they do whatever it is those clouds do. Back up to the top. Opting for that center line. Still with a sense of purpose off that top cornice as he gets right on that toe side edge as he works his way down towards some fresh snow. Kind of riding that rib down towards this first feature. Coming in on top of this technical section, up and over the cheese grater. Opting for this straight line. Getting a bit of air and coming out of it nice and controlled on that heel side edge. Adding to that line score, the big air, unfortunately going down on the fan, having that control issue. Out onto the flats, he's going to want that last air back, but a solid top section and smooth riding from this man. More athletes working their way up, couple skiers, couple snowboarders to go later in this men's snowboard category. We've got our next athlete dropping in. Rocking that top section. And getting on top of this cheese grater. Coming in with a huge air. Pile driving the landing. Not the cleanest landing. The judges want to see fine tranny and really kind of just skip on through. Not a lot of impact, no hands down, no butt down, no control issues kind of when you're taking that kind of air. Obscuring the view as we wait for that cloud to go. And as it passes, we've got Benjamin Thornycroft dropping in from the US of A. Choosing that main line on Ozone. Pretty popular line choice from these male snowboarders so far. As he comes in off that cliff. Stomp of the landing, find a little bit of snow, softer snow to land on as he works his way down towards this lower technical section on top of the cheese grater as it's known here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Not going for the straight line, but airing out and over the longest bit of rock. Unfortunately catching his heel side edge and tomahawk and ragdolling down. Unfortunate luck off that big bottom air. Out onto the flats, and he's going to wish he could redo that one. That's the nature of competition, though. One run to show the world and the judges just how good you are on any given day. Sometimes it's magic, sometimes it's tragic. Dropping in down Ozone, Maine. For your next male snowboarder, Patrick Van. Finding a nice top air, opting to ride that ridge past the cornice, find a little donger off the top into the main chute. Oh, Looker's riding them back. Looker's left off this next feature, avoiding the hole punched by a fellow competitor. Previously finding some rock, just airing over that. Linking some turns down towards this bottom technical section. Got pungy trees to deal with, small shrubs, and of course those big trees. But he's out on top of this cheese grater section, named for its skinning effect if you fall over it. Not that he does. Airs out, stomps the landing, gets his control back in order, and off a little donger out the bottom and onto the fan here, down towards the flats and the finish corral, and of course the adoring fans. The whole venue there. One little bonus hit. Smith optics, Smith helmets, Smith sunglasses, Smith helping out this event. Great to have a sponsor of such great timeless eyewear helping this event happen, helping Freeride flourish. Purcell Heli Skiing, of course, delivering whoever wants it to that Purcell powder. I think he's done quite well in the Wrangle the Chute 2-star events before. And he's 360 off the top, but going down a little heavy, reverting. Either way, keeping the energy high as he works his way down this open Looker's left-hand top section. We were chatting about it earlier in the female snowboard section. That area, since there's so much openness, great way to show off your control and technique. Less features to build that line score with. Steven, unfortunately not going off anything too large in there. Foregoing some features, losing some line score. But solid riding down through the fan. Next rider, ooh, smashing his face on the fence. I guess he didn't see that during his inspection run. Unfortunate luck. This is Kai White, Canadian, coming into that main Ozone line. Unfortunately getting clotheslined up top. Not seeming to be too much of a problem as he works his way. Hesitating a bit on top of this feature. Popping down, lining up his air. A nice little air as he comes into this middle section. Airing out down on the bottom. Solid stomp off the cheese grater, holding it together on the fan. Basically a very solid line from Kai. Unfortunately going down on that fence up top. This is why the riders do have the chance to inspect the venue before they ride it. Of course, day before the event, chance for visual inspection, check it out, see what they can see. and then they do get a run down to see how it is. Battling some fog, but still managing a super solid run. Building that score, showing the judges what they want. Dropping in with a solid 360. Putting a hand down a little bit on the run out as he works his way into the main line of Ozone. Keeping things moving, finding some soft snow, airing out a little bit as he works his way towards this technical bottom section of the venue. Will he go cheese grater? Will he opt for a little bit lookers? Right line. He goes there on top of that straight line, airing into it, holding it all together, riding the ruts out onto the fan. And a nice line as he comes down onto the flats, out towards the finish corral. Coming in, definitely battling a little bit of a cloud above the venue here, blotting out the sun and everything that comes with it, that warmth and those easy, happy feelings. He's coming into that looker's left-hand line and into the choke. Working his way through. Of course, these chokes kind of funnel the public through them too, so they do see a lot of traffic, high volume areas. Difficult to ride through. Brian, though, airing out the bottom here. Nice little shifty, holding onto the landing, into the fishbowl, and out onto the fan. You can see that top of the venue, a little cloudy, but he's working his way down towards the finish corral. Starting to snow a little bit. We're getting all kinds of weather here today at the 2019 4-star FWQ at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. We call it Wrangle the Chute. It's got a long history, lots of fun events in the past. Now the IFSA turning it into a qualifier for the World Tour. Great stuff out of Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. It's a big mountain, puts these riders to the test. Coming in off that top cornice with a 360. Working his way down. Back lookers right a bit. Definitely battling that cloud sitting in front of the sun. Find a little bit of air, a little airplane turn as he works his way down through these pungy trees. Getting set up in a nice steep technical section. Kind of heel sliding his way into it. The judges want to see that committed riding, that straight line and air out. That's what the judges want to see. No hesitation, knowing where you're going, finding the line. Of course, Matthew working with what he's got, and as far as visibility goes, didn't pull the short straw on that one. Into the finish corral. This event brought to you by Helly Hansen, outerwear extraordinaire, partners of Kicking Horse Mountain Resort and RCR, and of course bringing you Wrangle the Chute 2019 FWQ 4-star event. Dropping in now, your next male snowboarder. Still those pesky clouds blotting out the sun. He works his way over rider's right, or rider's left, looker's right. Getting a little grab off that traverse line air. Taking his nose and pointing it back over looker's left. It's up to the judges to decide if that zigzag pattern of his line is worth it overall. See if that traverse line helps the line score or hinders your fluidity score. Teeing up a nice air into the straight line. Holding on to the control. Banging out a little bonus feature we haven't seen yet from these men snowboarders. Stomp and landing clean and out onto the fan. Solid line. Let's see what the judges think as he works his way across the flats. Nice little tail press. 180, reverting back out into the finish corral. Definitely getting some love from the crowd down there. People are cheering, people are watching. Back to the top of Ozone. Dropping in off that cornice. Sizable air. Riding his way down that looker's left hand bowl, coming in, working his way down towards a newish area that I don't think we've seen any athletes go to yet. And where all the other riders over here have been working their way, just lookers right of here through the choke or over to the other features. We've got this gentleman working his way off of a nice little double, not so little, putting his butt down a little bit, but holding it all together and riding a nice line out through there. Coming in for the bonus hit at the bottom. Another nice air out onto the fan, battling again with the cloudy, kind of overcast weather here. All the same, new line choice, interesting run as he works his way down across the flats towards the finish corral. International Free Skiers and Snowboarders Association, the IFSA, kind of like the governing body of these contests. They're in charge, making this all happen, making sure the judges are ready to judge, and the whole events are running smooth with the help of their partners at each one of these resorts. This 4-star FWQ, of course, at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Wrangle the Chute 2019. Exciting times as your next snowboarder from the men's category drops in. Working his way over to Lookers right under the big rock wall. Across the traverse lines. And taking it right off the top. Nice little air. Getting a little shifty tweak, whatever you want to call it, in there. Adding to that line score with another little hit. Working his way down into the guts of Ozone.
We lost everything.
1, 0, 1. Dropping in 3, 2, 1.
Shit.
Rider on course. Lookers right.
Finding a little sneaky tech section to work his way through. Finding the grab out onto the fan and out to the Looker's right-hand exit towards the finish corral. Not the fastest run we've seen, but a solid run, solid riding, smooth as he worked his way top to bottom down towards his finish corral. Getting some love from the crowd. Oh, look over there. One bowl over at the Eagle's Eye restaurant, highest restaurant in North America. It's not snowing. Just a little, not quite sunny either, but snowing in one bowl and just chilling in the other. Working his way down that Looker's right-hand line. Working his way further to the Looker's right. See that snow in the foreground, blue sky in the black background. Bryn headed over even further, Looker's right, making his way to this wide open, mostly untouched line on Ozone. Not a ton of features, but some. Nice steep chute coming into some rocks. Teeing up a nice little air, straight line. And powering those turns out onto the fan. Blowing up a little snow, getting a little face shot. Enjoying the ride down, which is what we love to see from these riders. Them just having fun as they work their way down. Working his way down towards the finish corral. Back up to the top with our next rider. Center line, Ozone, Maine. Another little 360 midline. Oh, bummer though. Riding out on his tail, losing a bit of control. Regaining it somewhat as he comes into this lower technical section, though. Opting for that technical pungy section. Normally not crazy, but with the amount of ski tracks through here, it's definitely turned into a bit of steps. Nice straight line double out onto the fan, though. Very committing as he works his way out on these rolls and onto the flats. Capping off a nice run. Ooh, just a nice little hand drag. Back up on the ridge top under the Helly Hansen tent. That's where your judges are sitting, making sure they decide with the utmost clarity in their minds who the winner of the Wrangle the Chute 2019 FWQ 4-star event's going to be here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort on Ozone. Nice crowd out here skiing the ski hill, hanging out in the sunshine under the blue skies. Working their way up this stairway to heaven chair and, soaking it all in. You get a nice view of the comp from the chair and get to spend some time in the mountains. And really that's what it's all about out here. Out anywhere really in the mountains is just getting in touch with nature and finding your favorite way to enjoy it. For these athletes, clearly the free ride. Comps, free ride anytime, I'm sure, is just the best way to enjoy those that winter coldness and what the skies decide to give us, that poofy powder. Here, though, we got another men's snowboarder dropping in. Coming at you into the main line. Working his way down this top rib, off the cornice, a little spin maneuver.
Dropping in 3, 2, 1.
Shit.
Rider on course. Look is right.
Probably the most American name you could possibly think of here. Tucker Pratt.
Oh, you gotta have the vent open on the...
Quintessentially US of A. But you know what?
Everybody on
Nothing
camera.
wrong with his riding as he works his way down over the technical midsection here.
Okay, Jesse on the course. There's a guy on course right now. Okay, Jesse to course.
Kind of
Yeah,
like
no
if,
shot,
like
no
if
nothing.
Tucker Carlson and Chris Pratt had a
Somebody help me
baby,
out here. I got no skier, no nothing.
and that was okay in America, that this guy would have that name, you know?
Just keep looking.
Working his
for him.
way down. Oh, and a nice air off the bottom. Finding the landing gear. Ooh, unfortunately digging the nose in. And an abrupt stop to the fluidity. Holding it together, though, off another little air onto the fan.
There we go. Just polish and finish them, or follow on the finish line. And then I'll jump over to camera 7 here.
Out over the flat section. Down towards the finish corral. One little stylish nose butter.
Tom, Jeff Palmer, the weather hold. It's Tom to go.
This is a 4-star World Tour qualifier. These athletes competing here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort looking for the points so that they have the shot of competing on the world's highest free ride stage, the FWT. We're back. Wrangle the Chute 2019 4-star FWQ. Whole lot of goodness still to come. We had men's snowboarding. We had women's snowboarding. And now we're on to the women's ski. Flashing your way down the line. Definitely up in the ante as far as speed is concerned from what we've seen so far today. Coming out. Looker's right-hand chute, working her way back towards the center main guts of Ozone here. Definitely showing off that control and technique. Trying to build that line score, working her way down out onto the fan and onto the flats. Next up from Chile, Maria Ardura dropping in, opting for the Lookers, a left-hand line choice. Off the cornice, continuing her way left and down into the guts here of the left-hand pocket. Some nice snow in there. Arcing the turns, working her way back and forth. Showing that control, that technique off for the judges. Back Looker's right into the shrubs. Trying to find her line down and on top of this technical lower section. Battling some chunky snow in there. Kind of back and forth. Not really working that fluidity. Not showing a lot of reason for dipping into those trees. Could have just skied fall line. Maria, though, teeing up a nice feature down here. Into the technical section, chunky snow. Working her way through the crux there. A little rocky, thin snow through that high traffic area, but out onto the fan. Find a little air. Coming in a little bit of an uphill, but back on track as she works her way down this line. Nice air onto the fan. Finding some of that soft skiff, blow up some dust as she makes her way onto the flats. (2019) Wrangle the Chute FWQ 4-star. We've got another lady skier dropping in. Solid top air. Opting out of the cornice and out onto that little knob. Far down as you can go on that vertical rib. Throwing down some slough, airing into the pocket. Ooh, unfortunately, finding a hole, going head over heels. I'm sure that's how we all feel about Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. A little head over heels in love with this place. Unfortunate for Josie, though, as she works her way down into this lower technical section. Didn't lose any skis, didn't lose any poles, but a major control issues, and the judges are definitely going to hold her accountable for that. So instead of getting too crazy, she's just taking her safe, enjoying her turns down onto the fan. With an issue like that, you know you're kind of out of the running. So it's very respectful. It's nice of these athletes when they preserve the landings and the more technical, thin snow for the other athletes that are still to come.
Are there any male snowboarders left?
Airing off that top cornice into the main line here at Ozone. Coming into that hit, stomping the landing. Ooh, unfortunately having a control issue off the next feature. Getting hung up, definitely going to get dinged on the fluidity. As she comes to a complete stop, basically a fall, major control issue there. Back up on her feet though, throwing some snow, working her way down. Ozone, main, through the guts, down towards the bottom here. Coming in, chewing up some of those traverse lines for us. Buffing them out as she comes down onto the fan. Again, kind of saving that more thin snow, the technical features for other athletes still to come. After a control issue, it's unfortunate, but that is unfortunately a major dinging of the points from the judges' perspective. Working her way down the main line here. Nice top air up there. Finding the landing, stomping it clean as she works her way at Looker's left. On top of this cheese grater. Lining up a fresh line for the ladies here. Airing out, finding a nice smooth landing, and oh, unfortunate luck. Getting a little off balance and going down on the fan. Holding on her gear though, out onto the flats. Our next athlete dropping in. Working her way down on top of this lower set of features. Getting hung up a bit in this chundery section. Lots of pungies, lots of traverse lines. Not a lot of flow through this section in the way the snow's set up. And unfortunately in the skiing that we're seeing right now. Finding her way out the bottom though, out town towards the fan. Anything left in the tank? Just some nice smooth sole skiing down on the fan, working her way off the venue towards the finish corral. That was the 6th lady of the day. This is Wrangle the Chute, the FWQ 4-star here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, brought to you by Helly Hansen. Getting a nice view of the backcountry here in the dog teeth. Just out of bounds at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Ozone, of course, used to be a permanently closed area. Now it's open to the public. First year these riders are representing themselves on this face. We've got a solid run so far, working her way down the main guts, fast and fluid, nice and fall line. Definitely taking the time to show those judges the control and the technique. Arcing the skis, not chattering those turns, not washing them, tucking it up off that air. Coming in on top of this cheese grater, solid air, stomping it clean, really getting that speed under control. She works her way out onto the fan, powering those turns down towards the flats. Super strong skiing, nice run. Just doing a little goofing around there. She works her way towards the finish corral. I'm sure she's getting some love from the crowd. Impressed to see what this lady's done with her run. Airing out and over that last little bump. Styling it out all the way to the finish corral. Our next rider dropping in. Smooth through that top corner section, really railing those turns down through this top section. Not a lot of features in the middle here, unless you're going to stick to the edges. So these ladies opting to show off the technique and the control here. Try and ski fall line, flow, get that flow and the fluidity line up. Find a little chunder through here. Sun's back out, heating up this snow a little bit. Getting a little chundery through there. Our lady coming in here. Oh. Losing a bit, going back. Oh my goodness. Finding her way across every rock in the cheese grater. That is something you don't like to see. Looked painful. She's not slowing down. Quite the fall. It's unfortunate. That's definitely not what you want to see. Unfortunately, that is part of the sport. There's some risks involved. These athletes putting it all on the line for those points and to show off for the crowd, sometimes they get bitten. Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, the host of this Wrangle the Chute event, 4-star FWQ, Freeride World Qualifier, and of course the IFSA, International Free Skiers and Snowboarders Association, making it all possible. The umbrella in which we all operate as free skiers competing in these comps. Our next rider, previous rider, was cleared off the course. She's all right. Next up, we've got our 9th lady skier of the day. Moving right along. Again with this Ozone main line. Opting for the big open face, clean turns, find a nice little straight line back into the main guts. Tough act to follow when the competitor goes down so spectacularly before you. Bit of a mind game that some of these riders are forced to deal with. Ooh, unfortunately going down behind that tree, finding a rock. Getting all her bits and pieces back together and out over Looker's right. Our next athlete dropping in also onto the main line. Again, kind of just ripping the guts there. Coming out a little more Looker's right. Kind of picking the main line the whole way down. She's a safe line choice down into this bottom section. See if she's got anything up her sleeve. Coming in, airing off that last little bit of rock. Working her way over. And opting for some more nice turns down on the fan. She's down onto the flats across the finish line. Some solid skiing, smart decision making from this lady competitor here. more female ski action as your next competitor drops in. Heading off, lookers right after a nice air off the cornice. No hesitation off that next air. Stomping the landing clean, finding some nice smooth snow to land on. Switching things up from the last couple athletes that we saw, working their way down the main guts off that cornice. We've seen extra feature added. Nice size, definitely going to add to her line score as she works her way down towards the bottom. Picking up some points there off that little air. Down into this bottom choke. Keeping it moving, keeping that fluidity flowing down the mountain. Showing the judges she's in control, finding the way to the top of that little double straight line. Nice technical feature adding to her line score. And out onto the flats there. Solid skiing in a solid line, switching things up a little bit. Picking a new line, nice technical features, a little bit of air, and some solid skiing. Down and off that cornice. This is your next female skier. Putting in some nice turns in this top section. Airing off the top. Keeping things moving. Fall line. Fast fluid skiing. Solid air coming into this middle section. Ooh, and finding a bump. Going down. Little starfish. Not where you expect to see something like that happen, but unfortunately that's just the way it goes sometimes. Something grabs you, and you just must give it your full attention. She looks a little bummed there, as you would be. Can't really say if that's bad luck or a snow snake or what, or if she just hit a little punji tree or whatnot, but unfortunately that's what happens sometimes. Just cruising along, then out of nowhere, bam, you're down. Just getting all her bits and pieces, picking it back up. Had a little bit of a hike for that one ski. Grabbed it though, and now it looks like she's just making a spot for her to get her equipment back on safely. She can get off of there. View of our judges tent and the Helly Hansen tent. Big sponsor of this event, making sure it's all possible. One ski's back on. Skis are back on. She's working her way down off that exposed area and out towards the main line, center guts here. Ooh, still going for it. Working her way through this chunky, chundery snow. And out and down towards a safe exit. Around and under the cheese grater. She's out onto the fan, safe and sound. And out towards the finish corral. Next riders on course, coming into this cornice, working the ridge and airing into the main line. Working her way far, lookers right under that big rock face. One of the peaks here up on Ozone. No hesitation, rocking off that top air. Ooh, battling some bumpy snow off the donger and into the main line here. Working her way down towards that cheese grater straight line. Putting it down, working those ruts and holding it all together down through that chunder and out onto the fan. Into this flat section. Solid quick run. Working her way across the finish line here in the sunshine. Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, throwing up her hands. She's stoked, feeling it. Working her way down towards the crowd.
Number 17 from Lake Louise, Renee McKay, dropping in. Getting some more competitors up top. Renee dropping in. Imagine that top air at the corner into the main line.
Opting to show off that control and that technique through the top section here. Coming in towards the first feature other than the cornice, airing it, stopping it clean. Airing back out across that main choke. Coming in on that top exposed traverse. Opting for the straight line here. Threading the needle out onto the fan. keeping it on her feet, off and over onto the flats. She's coming down towards the finish corral in front of all the spectators hanging out there at the bottom of White Wall and Ozone. This is the new terrain here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Coming in, another one for the main line here. Popping off that cornice. And working her way down the center guts of Ozone. Skiing clean, but looking to build that line score through the bottom section of this run. After some of the runs we've seen from these ladies, gonna have to hit some features if you're looking for the spot on the podium. Clean, smooth skiing, isn't gonna be quite enough. Unfortunately, finding a hairy moment there. Having a bit of a control issue out in the back seat on the tails of the skis and putting a hand down. She's working her way back across the main guts of Ozone here. Nice little spread eagle to cap things off. Fortunately, a little bit of a control issue there, but a smooth top section. Definitely clean, controlled skiing. And just like that, the ladies ski part of this contest at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, the FWQ 4-star Wrangle the Chute, is all over. We've seen women's snowboard, men's snowboard, and now women's ski just concluding as our last female skier crosses the finish line. She's stoked, pumped, had a nice time on that Ozone venue. We're looking forward to the male skiers. A couple of them there walking up. One guy getting passed on the skin track. Obviously, I don't know, maybe just not out running those stairs, training those legs. Can't handle the hike all the way up to the top of Ozone, the new high point at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. We got our first male rider dropping in for the ski category. Coming in hot and heavy off that top cornice down over towards this next feature. Across the traverse line, making one big turn. Stopping the landing, riding a little bit on the tails of the skis out across that traverse line below the cliff. Just a real natural spot for it. Airing out, finding a nice soft landing. Working his way down towards this bottom section. Ooh, and bad luck, just having his ski pop off. Oh my God. Risking it for the biscuit, getting into his ski. Just one-footed skiing through that chunder. Skis back on though. Oh, not quite. Just getting his ski back on, finding the right spot to put it back on. And working his way out towards the guts. Getting off that face. Unfortunate luck. Solid top section. A couple nice airs. Smooth skiing. Playing that line score game. Building the points. But unfortunately just losing his ski and going down in that middle section in the chundery kind of skied out snow there. And missing his chance to stand on top of that podium. Next male skier dropping in. Coming in fast off that cornice in the Ozone main line. Airing a pencil-y 360 off the top of that air. Getting it around, stopping it clean. We'll see what the judges do on the style points for that one. Airing out pretty big off that donger though. Out into the guts. Working his way down across into the main choke here. Teeing up something at the bottom. Find a nice little double twister off the bottom air, showing those judges how controlled he was on that little touchdown. Enough to pop up and do the twister. But he's out and finished onto the flats. A little splaffy there off the last rock just for the crowd. The judges are done scoring them by the time they get to these rolls. This is presented by Helly Hansen, Wrangle the Chute 2019 at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, an FWQ 4-star event. Lots of excitement here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort for these events. Everyone's dressed as cowboys. There's a real theme here. Everyone cheering on these athletes, sticking around to watch these male skiers in their final group. As this guy, your third male skier of the day, airs off that top cornice. And let me guess, down into this next feature. Solid air, going down a little heavy on the front of his ski. Getting a little grabby. Unfortunately going down. That is just going to probably be enough to take him out of contention. Sometimes it happens when you least expect it. On the smoothest outruns, it's just the most minute body positioning change that can cost you your chance at the top of the podium. Over and across the finish line. You never like to see an athlete go down, but when you do, at least, or when they do, pardon me, at least they're okay. Next up, we've got another male skier dropping in, the fourth one of the day. Off that cornice. Out over a similar line to the first three competitors. Fourth one in a row. Coming into this feature. Sending it He's finding the landing on that one, though, holding it all together. Working his way across the hill. Nice little layer, finding some tranny and some soft snow. Coming in down towards this technical bottom section. You can see just how chuted up it is from that wide angle shot there. A little tighter here. Seeing the line this gentleman chooses down through the bumps, through these off angle, steep, flat, steppy kind of traverse lines. You see what happens when people don't ski fall line. Just builds a staircase out of a mountain. But our boy sends it out the bottom, finds his way through those traverse lines into a nice tranny. Riding out a little bit back seat, but holding it all together down onto the fan and out onto the flats. You can see the crowd there watching, cheering on these guys, hanging out in the sun at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Son, friends, fellow athletes. Dave's got pretty much everything but a little bit more powder. His athletes don't seem to mind, though. They're making quick work of this long, big venue. Taking the opportunity to show off their line choice, their technique, their control, their fluidity, and, of course, their air and style. We're seeing a few more tricks from these male skiers willing to push it on this hard, fast ski hill. A little bit of consequence if you screw up a trick. Sometimes not always the same or more difficult in a straight air. Next skier, fifth one of the day, dropping in. Big air off that top cornice. Working his way down over this next feature. Looks like it was a 360. Coming in down towards the bottom here, or the middle section, pardon me. All five taking a very similar line score. I do not envy the judges trying to figure out the minute differences of these line choices. But we got our first male skier above the cheese grater. Coming in off the top, airing the biggest part, stomping it clean, riding away smooth onto the fan and out onto the flats. Solid skiing. Blowing up some snow into the finish corral, keeping things fun right until the bitter end. Getting a little love from a friend, and that's what it's all about. Just the camaraderie and fun that these big mountain free ride contests bring to these athletes. Such a good time, such a positive vibe, great energy here, and I'm sure at all the free ride comps across North America, Europe, and Asia. But this one, extra fun. Kicking Horse Mountain Resort 2019 Wrangle the Chute FWQ 4-star. You're looking out over the Dogtooth Range, the front range of the Purcells. That's Ozone in the foreground, Mini Ridge down below, and of course the Kicking Horse backcountry out those next several ridges. Back up to the top of Ozone. We've got our next athlete dropping in. Sixth skier of the day. .316 off that top cornice, blowing up some snow. off that air, finding a supported pocket to land in. Aaron into the straight line. Ooh, catching his tips on a rock but holding it all together. Sticking it on to, or keeping it on his feet, I should say. Will probably result in a bit of a ding in the control, or the Aaron style is a bit squirrely, but we're just happy to see that he didn't eat it in that technical kind of no fall area. Stayed on his feet and rode away as clean as the circumstances allowed. Next rider on course coming in to this main Ozone line. Airing off that cornice up top. Coming down towards this next hit. Very popular line choice from these athletes. Starting to think they might have all inspected together. Nice little shifty over the rock band into the main line. Again, finding a nice supported pocket to land in, working his way, off a nice little side hit, but coming down into this last kind of technical featured zone, the last band, on top of the cheese grater. Keeping her flowing right in there, nice solid air as he works his way down across the fan and towards the flats, solid skiing. Right down across the flats. Boosting one last little bump into the finish corral. Fired up, feeling good about that one. Get some high fives, some stoke from some other competitors and spectators. There they are, people milling about, checking out what these male skiers have to do. A little later in the day here, you can see these shadows are growing a little longer and moving fairly quickly as the sun dips in the sky. Got our next athlete on course, kind of styling it out off that top cornice. Coming into this next hit. Are there gates I'm not seeing up here? Why are they all skiing the same thing? Ben, though, 360 off the top, fortunately putting down a hip. Kind of washing out the landing there. Maybe a control issue for sure, but we'll see how it does with the rest of his line here. Coming in, Aaron, solid little shifty Finding some tranny and working his way down towards this cheese grater section. Getting that slough rolling as he works his way over to the air to straight line. Keeping to his feet on his way out. Solid skiing from this young man. Unfortunately for that little control issue. You're going to see how that affects his score as he comes down onto the flats and into the finish corral. And let's see if he's got anything left for the crowd here. One last little pump up hit, or maybe a butter, a little tail press there. Oh, I saw a little 180 revert into the finish corral. Wrangle the Chute brought to you by Helly Hansen, the Kicking Horse Mountain Resort stop of the IFSA's Freeride World Qualifier Series. This is a 4-star event. These athletes are in the hunt for some points, looking to qualify for the Freeride World Tour next year, represent North America, see who has the cojones in the men's ski category to make it to the top of the podium. Aaron in off that cornice, working his way, skiers right. Coming in and around onto this feature. Definitely picking a nice air, dodging the bomb hole. Finding a nice solid landing. Working his way back, lookers left over this next feature. Ooh, unfortunately missing the entrance a little bit. Getting hung up. Ooh, stopping himself just before disaster. Coming to a full stop, though, definitely going to be penalized in the fluidity portion of his score. Just trying to get into a situation where he can get out of there, get enough speed for another hit. Holding it all together, though. Finding a bit of some line score off the other side of that rock. Unfortunately, it's the fluidity that's going to be a bit of an issue on that one. Coming around and just opting for the guts there, getting out of there. You didn't have the line you wanted, but you know what? Save that snow, save the landing, and a potentially awkward exit off that cliff for the other competitors that are looking to get through there. Ooh, finish corral is down. That generator must have gone out of gas. What can you do? At least the judges are stopping their judging at the bottom of the real venue there before it gets onto the rollies. So it won't cost him anything. Looked like a volunteer might have missed their chance to be a hero and fill up a generator. Instead, someone else had to come to the rescue. That's Ozone, though. Late daylight. Shadows are growing across the face as we get through this male ski category. Next athlete coming in. Working his way down the ridge towards this bottom air off the cornice. Sizable air. Find some softer looking snow there on the lookers left of this Ozone main line. Solid air, nice fast skiing as he's coming back towards the guts and back into the sunshine. Working his way down across this traverse line. Getting a little high. Dodging a rock and teeing up a solid bottom air. Taking what we've seen some other people do as straight lines or doubles as a single. And down onto the flats. Aaron, one more thing, coming in, getting some love from the crowd. Ooh, look at that. Our finish corral's still deflated. It doesn't matter, though, because the Stokes high. He's getting some love from the crowd. Doesn't have to go through the whole mishmash and maze that is the finish corral. Just straight into the arms of his friends. Next rider coming off that top cornice. Working his way over Looker's right. Under that big rock face. Coming in off this top air. Saw a little 360 crossing up the skis. Going for those style points. Style and energy. His bottom hit. Solid smooth air. Going way out Looker's left though. Kind of traversing, losing a bit of his flow. Coming down. Different line choice than we've seen before. Nice little straight line, little air. Coming back towards this fan. Or, sorry, Looker's right on the fan. And working his way off a few more features here. Oh, blasting through some pillow, getting the slough rolling, stomping the landing. Trying to build that line score and give the judges a reason to bump him up in the score department. Will it be enough? Let's see. He's definitely stoked, waving that pole around. The old pole whip, eh? Solid skiing. Unfortunately getting bogged down there on the fluidity up top, but solid skiing either way. There's a little shifty off that little rock. Shifty little mule kick spasm thing. He's down though. He's stoked. That's what it's all about. Having fun, taking chances, and skiing your best given the conditions any which way. Our next athlete coming in 316 over top of the air. We've seen so many former athletes do, or of our former competitors, I should say. Working his way far Looker's right. A little bit different line choice. See how it does. Got another 360 in him. Stomping the landing clean. Riding out back Looker's left. Skiing a nice steep section out onto the traverse line and over. Not hesitating at all, shifting out over that straight line. Double as a single and out onto the flats with a little tail press. Nice little spread eagle, cap everything off. Coming in, finish corrals back up. Good job, whoever got that back up. Thanks to anyone who helped with that. He is through the gate. Wrangle the Chute brought to you by Helly Hansen, 2019 Kicking Horse FWQ 4-star. An exciting time. It's a beautiful day out here at Kicking Horse. We're all just enjoying the Freeride comp experience. We had women's snowboard absolutely crush it. Men's snowboard, women's ski, and now we are getting through the male ski category. 13 down, several more to go. So stay tuned. Lots of ski action here as we have our next athlete head over Looker's left. Out on top of that sunny cornice. Popping by some later competitors off the big part of the cornice here. Coming in with a solid 360. Stop and landing clean. Just enjoying some fast, powerful turns down this middle section. Definitely showing the judges that technique and control. Coming to this bottom air. No hesitation. Sending it. Backslapping a little, but right into a turn. And off another massive air. Stomping it pretty clean. Maybe putting the butt down a little bit. Hard for the judges, I'm sure, to make a call on that line. They haven't seen it yet. Two big airs, a little bit of the control issue going back, but still finding his way from feature to feature and making the turns he needed to. Nice little nose press over the butter box into the finish corral. Nice skiing from our 13th male competitor of the day. Wrangle the Chute brought to you by Helly Hansen. Next rider dropping in. Airing off the cornice. Working his way down and around off this next feature. Taking it a little bigger than some of the other athletes you've seen on that, which is nearly everyone. This young man, though, working his way over to his next feature. Finding the landing on that one. Building the line score. Air by air, point by point. Coming into this cheese grater section. Getting the slough rolling and airing pretty big over the cheese grater. Straight lining right out the bottom. Just hanging on to that speed as he goes into the flats. And just like that, fast and fluid run over. Coming in towards the crowd, getting some love. A little shifty, cheering himself on into the finish corral. He's stoked on that run. Next rider, 15th of the day. Dropping in off that top cornice. Coming in around, yet another athlete off of this. No hesitation, though. Solid send. Ooh, styling it out off of that middle air. Out far, Looker's left. Staying in the sun. Straight lining his way down onto the fan. Looked like it was a little bit harder snow. Back up in a new area. Airing into a straight line. Turning out of it. Just playing with those side hits. Working that line score. Building it up. Let's see how that pans out for him as he comes on to the flats and off the judged area of Ozone. He's not sure what to think. Doesn't know if the judges are going to love it or leave it. But we all know that the judges did like it. Solid run. Solid skiing. Unique, interesting line choice panned out for that man. Oh, look at that. Some slack country lines and the world's longest cross hill skin track behind our Freeride World Qualifier logo, which is what this is. 4-star event at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. All these athletes trying to get their points so they can represent themselves beautifully on the Freeride World Tour and their stops in Asia, Kicking Horse Mountain Resort in North America, and across Europe. Our next athlete looks like he's headed over Looker's left off the top of Ozone, working his way down that cornice. Slightly bigger cornice than the one to Looker's right. Right now we got an athlete headed for a nice little spread eagle. Then a little back seat under the cornice in the shade. Regaining his control though and just powering out some turns and a nice wide open bit. Back into the sun. Slowing things down a little bit. Find a nice little shark fin, airing off, holding it all together, and then straight lining, airing out onto the fan. Interesting line from this man. Fast and fluid at the bottom. Will it be enough to see him into the top 10 or even the top 5? Or, of course, the top 3 standing on that podium getting the most points? We will see. One more little spread eagle. Starting things off with a spread eagle, finishing things up with another spread eagle. Another athlete dropping in, working his way. Looker's left. Opting to stay in the sun for a little longer. Picking this big cornice to air off of. Coming down in the shade, just powering out a couple turns. Bit risky coming over here as there are no features until you get down to this lower technical section, leaving a lot of points on the table as far as the game is concerned. This man finding a nice straight line air, using the terrain, dodging a wall of rocks. Must have been scary as he loses his control there a little bit. Maybe a little bit of adrenaline pumping through his veins. One more air though. Out onto the fan, holding it together. And coming into the flats. Not sure what to make of it. It's just impressive. Oh, he's stoked. Hands in the air. Holding it together. Dodging that giant rock wall. Making that turn. That was impressive. And that straight line air. Our next male skier, picking the Looker's left-hand run, airing and base planting with a backflip off that top cornice. Working his way back, Looker's right. in. Coming in through this chundery, chopped up section. Throwing a backy off the bottom, stumping that one clean. Definitely going for that style and energy. Bouncing his way from one side of the venue to the other. Definitely with purpose. We'll see what the judges think. Bit of a control issue off the top. Rewarded with a nice score as he comes into the finish corral. Next rider dropping in. Working his way off that cornice, Looker's right. Will it be a fall on or making that turn, hitting this air. So a back scratcher, tweaky thing. All the rage for these free riding kids these days. Eking his way off that middle cliff. Tweaking it out, coming in above the cheese grater. Big air, getting the grab, stomping it clean and riding out down on this fan. Out onto the flats. Pretty solid, fast run. Definitely a variation of a line we've seen several times before. We'll see what the judges have to say as this young man comes into the finish corral. Rolling through the men's ski category. Kicking things off with a spread eagle off the top cornice. This male competitor in the ski category. Working his way down this familiar line. But just continuing off Looker's right with a 360. Into some unfamiliar terrain as he works his way down off this feature. Working his way back, Looker's left. Airing out, landing on a rock but holding it all together. Onto the fan. Definitely stoked, fired up, which is what it's all about. Looking out over those beautiful Purcell Mountains. From inbounds here at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, that is the backcountry here. This is the FWQ 4-star event, Wrangle the Chute, brought to you by the Helly Hansen, Smith, Purcell Mountain or Purcell Heli Skiing, pardon me. The IFSA, of course, Kicking Horse Mountain Resort, hosting this event, and the 2-star, which was a couple days ago. Coming into the corners, ready to kick things up. Nice. Ooh, big air. Back slapping a little bit. Definitely a control issue off that top big cornice air. Down in through the guts here. Teeing up a sizable air. Stomping the landing. Just like that, out onto the fan. Picking up maybe one more little point on that roller as he comes into the flats. Just trying to boost off that lower little roll, putting on a show for the crowd out into the finish corral. There you have it. Out across the valley from Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Some beautiful mountains, stunning vistas here. Just like we're seeing some absolutely stunning riding from all of these contenders. Ladies snowboarding, men snowboarding, women ski and men ski. Great stuff coming out of Kicking Horse Mountain Resort for the FWQ 4-star. We're at 22 down with a couple more to go. We've got 37 total male skiers. We're working our way through the crew as these late day shadows grow on us and the sun starts to dwindle into the west. Our next athlete opting for the classic Ozone mainline. Working his way out, skiers right through some pepper. Taking that side hit with a little shifty, getting a little heavy-headed on the landing. .360 in this bottom air, stomping that one fairly clean as he works his way back. Looker's left. And off his bottom air, dodging a rock and the traverse line out over that double and onto the fan. Fast skiing, building that line score. as this guy drops in. Off that cornice and off to that looker's right-hand line. 316 across, keeping that traverse going. Double pole planning into this straight line double out onto the fan. Three 180 up onto the cornice. Finding his line way over looker's right. Back looker's left. Off the cliff. Putting it down. Holding it all together through this midsection. Coming out of that technical hairy section, off a nice air and onto the fan. Getting a little hung up on that chunky snow and those little schnarblies. Working his way down towards the finish corral. Getting some love from the fellow competitors and all those spectators down at the bottom, showing them some support. Out off looker's left, working his way across the top of that cornice. Big spread eagle, backslapping and not holding on to the landing. Unfortunate luck off of that top air. Still gonna put on a show. Working his way through some shrubs and down this looker's left-hand side of the main rib. Having some control issues off that bottom air, getting a little high-sided and going down on the hip. Still not done with the features, though. Getting a little squirrely out on this fan, but coming in to the flats with a nice little spread eagle. Our next rider dropping in. Doing some lefts and rights as he makes his way down off this cornice. Spread eagle is kind of the trick of the day today. Seen lots of competitors, spread their legs and just yell yee-haw. Since this is Wrangle the Chute, little cowboy-infused event. Ooh, unfortunate luck getting caught up on some traverse lines. Missing that big air and getting forced to ski this sun shadow line. Nice little popper through some trees, though. Backup plan here. Building line score with whatever he's got at his disposal. Airing out, holding it all together. Ooh, kind of losing it a little bit there in the hard, light, and chundery snow. Airing out onto the fan. And way over Looker's right into the low point. Nice little screaming seaman over the last roller. And back into the sunshine as he makes his way towards the finish corral. Dropping in again with this main Ozone line. Another little spread eagle. Working his way through the guts. Taking some dongers as he's working his way down. Trying to build that line score. Airing out onto the fan. and down onto the flats. Next athlete dropping in, cruising down that sun shadow line and down on top of the cornice. That's center rib, 316 his way onto this line. Down onto this next air, no hesitation. Aaron out, stomping the landing. Sending it over that cheese grater, holding it together. Trying to tee up one last hit here. 316 off the bottom. Ooh, putting on a little demonstration ski ballet. Holding that ski behind his head and then getting it back under his body. Onto the fan and down onto these flats. Solid skiing. Cat-like reflexes. Obviously a huge shout out to all the sponsors. Helly Hansen, Smith, Purcell Heli Skiing, Rosignol, the IFSA, and of course our host Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Coming in off that cornice, that top cornice with a little shifty. Working his way over towards this hit. Doing that old zigzag turn off this cliff. Nice little shifty. Keeping it together on the landing. And down into the guts. Big 360 over the rocks and onto the fan. .180ing. Keeping the energy high right to the end. Working his way across the flats. Down towards the finish corral. Another athlete coming in. Aaron off the cornice. Sizable air. Working his way skiers right, or lookers right. Turning around that tree, trying to keep the momentum moving through this chundery snow. Lots of athletes through here already. Sneaking through there, working his way across. Trying to build that line score, set up some more hits. Aaron down, nice little transfer gap off that cliff to the landing. Coming in on top of this cheese grater. Teeing it up and stomping the landing out through the fan. These last riders definitely have a lot more to contend with as the snow gets chewed up from all the previous contestants, their inspection runs, and the previous month. that this run's been open to the public. They'll close the last couple days. There just hasn't been a lot of snow here in the last little while. A lot of cold temperatures, obviously all affecting the conditions that these athletes are riding in. Working his way, Looker's right. Coming in off this air. Not carrying a ton of speed, but getting the air either way. Trying to add to that line score as he works his way down and across to the Looker's left of this centered Ozone. Taking that air, getting the grab. Power sliding down across those traverse lines. Keeping the skis in the direction he wants to as he airs out over that straight line double, taking it as a single and straight lining down out of the fan towards the finish corral. Rider on course coming into the ever popular Ozone main. Nice little grab off the top cornice. Working his way to the right here on top of this feature. Teeing it up. Stomping the landing, bouncing across those traverse lines. Down in this next feature, getting hung up a little bit, it looks like. Ooh, and going down, getting all awkward, making love, sweet love to that Mowgli Mountain, just splayed out there. Checking to see if he's okay. Seems like he's all right. Skis still on. Unfortunately, just not where you want to land off that top cliff. Back up though and working his way out off the top of that cheese grater, knowing that going down like that, you're pretty much taking yourself out of the race, so to speak. Mr. Bathgate working his way out, way over to the Looker's right, through some pungies. Checking his equipment for malfunctions. And just down, out into that untouched, smoother line. Blowing up some snow, just going for those soul turns. Down into this bottom roller with a 360. Still keeping the energy high, still putting on a bit of a show for the crowd down here. Cheering him on, watching him go as he comes down into all that shade at the bottom of this valley. .316 off the cornice on that Looker's left-hand line. One of our last few male skiers to go. Working his way down. Working his way in a next little technical section here. Getting on top of some cliff, holding himself up a bit. Opting to back out of that line choice and arc some turns down the mountain. Find another hit onto the fan. And getting down to the flats, capping off a run. Solid top section. Looks like he got lost a little bit in the middle, but made the most of it as the light disappears here on Ozone. We're down to our last two competitors, I believe, coming up. Thanks for joining us, sticking it out with us here on the old FWQ 4-star Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. Dropping in one last bib behind him, waiting for his shot. But right now, this man airing off the top cornice. Definitely battling some chunky snow in there, but solid air. Unfortunately, clipping the rocks just before his landing, going down hard on his face. Looks like he bent his pole. Tough tomatoes for Logan here as he works his way down onto the flats. Not what you want to see. So close to the end of a contest. Not what you want to see ever, really. But it is part of the sport. Those tiniest, most minute miscalculations. Our last competitor, hoping to cap things off here with a bit of a bang, working his way through that top cornice section, battling that hard snow. Working his way over to the right, through this pepper, airing up and over and continuing the traverse into the sun, just getting a little kiss, touching those rays as he works his way down and further right. Aaron finding his way, getting hung up a bit and high-sided. Puts a hip down and stops. Definitely not going to help the fluidity or any of the scores. But he's still moving, didn't lose any equipment, so it's not over until it's over. Out over to the right. He's skiing down, working his way down this kind of fresher snow area. And then way back around to the left to get onto that roly-poly flat section. And that just about sums it up. The 2019 FWQ 4-star Wrangle the Chute event at Kicking Horse Mountain Resort. It's been a wonderful time. We've got to thank our sponsors, Kicking Horse Mountain Resort for hosting, Helly Hansen, Rosignol, Smith, Purcell Heli Skiing, the IFSA. My name's Drew. Thanks for joining us. It's been a real treat commentating this for you, and we hope we can see you all next year at the event, cheering on these athletes. Or if you can't make it, then we'll be back next year online, just like today. Hope you had as much fun watching as I did commentating. Till then, have a good one.